There's several reasons why companies in an ideal world should be multi-channel in their customer service. And the first of these, of course, is that customers themselves are becoming increasingly multi-channel with mobile devices. Most of us have got them now, and we actually don't differentiate as much between email and phone as perhaps we used to when we used fixed equipment like telephones at home. So we're becoming increasingly mobile. We're also becoming more sophisticated in our transactions with companies. So we are influenced by leaders like Amazon and others who do multi-channel quite well. So things that are given to us as examples, we then therefore expect other companies to do at least in the same sector, and sometimes obviously cross-sector. The best advice to give companies in today's tough economic climate is to spend a lot of energy knowing your customer journeys so that you are as much aware as possible of the difficulties your customers are having getting in touch with you and getting their problems solved. And you're also able to therefore measure more accurately real satisfaction. And by that I mean satisfaction with the actual things you're trying to measure rather than measuring things that perhaps don't matter quite so much. So measurement is really, really key in this area, and understanding at what point in the customer journey your customer will be judging your efforts. I suppose the words that spring to mind here would be seamless, so that you don't necessarily differentiate between channels, but that's very, very difficult for most companies to achieve. So the advice here would be to try as much as possible to get as much relevant information to the person at the front line as possible about previous customer history, whether the transactions they've done with you, etc., etc. And that would be a great start. In an ideal world, of course, we would like everything to be available to everybody at the front line, whether it's in stores or in call centres or increasingly over web. And I think the main thing here is that customers are working towards that, and they are providing as much information as possible to the people who need it. Okay, the main drivers for investment here obviously should be around providing a better and consistent customer experience. It is difficult sometimes to justify investment for multi-channel because in tight economic climate, but the one thing to remember is that loyalty seems to be diminishing in generations, so there are young people who use services are probably less loyal and more inclined to switch than perhaps previous generations, so that should be a bit of a wake-up call. It's also, I think, for the longer term, as more channels become available and who knows what's around the corner, then it's important to have agility and flexibility and be able to offer choice. Also important, obviously, to match the number of channels and the type of channels to the brand that's being served, and that's terribly important. It's quite difficult in this climate to justify investment in this area, and there are several reasons for that, and a very important one is the ability to translate what's happening at the customer interface to a board level discussion. What happens at the customer interface can be high volume, can be quite complicated, and I think people who are running the operations need to become better at translating the reality of customer service and the possibilities for better service in the future into a way that makes much more sense from an investment point of view. So we need to become sharper and better at translating what actually happens into things that make sense for future investment.